Hey friends! In this episode, I'm going to discuss the topic of healing with our mind and using our mind to heal, because when someone's kind of new to these understandings and they haven't examined it much, they haven't applied it much, they'll lack it's common to lack the faith and the conviction of committing to such a practice. But Spirit just pointed out to me a perfect validation of it. So I have a good friend, Quinn Straza, who's a Grand Master of Reiki and spiritual energy healing. If anybody's inspired to book a session with him, you can contact me and I can put you in touch with him. But I've actually taken energy healing courses myself too, so I understand this to a great extent, and did I say a great extent? I understand it to an extent, we'll say. I don't want to embellish, but I understand the mind. This is the mental piece of energy healing that validates it. So when you go see someone who's doing pranic healing or quantum touch or Reiki or spiritual energy healing, as Quinn calls his process, because it's more elaborate than just putting his hands on somebody and doing the Reiki. He's advanced his own process, refined it in manners too. When they're doing this healing process, and they're healing these people of all sorts of illnesses, regaining their sight, regaining health from cancer, from bringing people out of a coma, all these types of things. If you understand what's going on in the mind of that energy healer or that energy healing practitioner, you would see that they're actually using their mind to picture the client as whole, as healed, completely healed. Their consciousness is affirming complete wellness in the client. They can't have contrary thoughts, otherwise they're not creating that vibration, that energy that is required in order to transmute the client's mindset of imbalance. The practitioner has to transform it by influencing their energetic field with the proper vibration of health and healing. And without the practitioner doing so, just placing their hands on somebody without that intent of healing, the healing does not take place, because the healing is not, the hands aren't what's essential for the healing. The consciousness, the conscious intent, the mindfulness of the practitioner, affirming the wellness and affirming the wholeness being renewed to the body, that's the catalyst. That's the essential part. And so now let's expand that to when you're not working with an energy healer, but you're trying to work on yourself in any moment. You're trying to emulate the same thing that an energy practitioner is doing with their mind. And that is visualizing yourself as completely well. Completely well. Any ideas of illness are to be negated and replaced with visualization and a feeling. Step into the energy and the feeling of wellness as you're doing this. Just like you want to pretend that you're happy. Just as though if you were intending to create happiness, you'd think a happy thought and you'd also embody the energy and the feeling of happiness. And you bring it about, you actually express it. That's what we're trying to do when we're intentionally using our conscious mind to influence our own health and our own wellness. All right? So there's a little bit of validation for those of you that are skeptical or maybe just don't have the influence because people in your circle don't talk about these types of things. If we look at the people who are doing these processes, even look at Jesus. I was reading a verse from the Bible today with the lady who touched his garment to be healed. And he says, you were healed by your faith in it happening. And what is faith? Faith is us consciously getting in alignment with that idea of wellness. Doubt would be the opposite. Consciously getting in alignment with the illness, right? So the more we have certain validations like this, and you can begin to recognize them all over the place in the external world if you know what you're looking for, and the more that you're subjected to this type of information, you'll be able to develop this discernment and you'll see it for yourself. But I felt it was valuable to put this video and episode together because some people will dismiss this idea because they lack the validation and conviction of it. And this, to me, is quite a clear one. When the people who are doing energy work, this is what the method that they're using in their mind by transforming people using their own consciousness. If they're the ones doing it and they're the ones having effect, and even Jesus, you were healed by your own faith, right? Faith is in the consciousness. Faith is in the mind. Notice Jesus wasn't healing people with the lack of faith. He always asked, do you believe? He didn't ask about the story. How did you get this illness? How long have you been ill? None of that is important. Do you have the faith in the healing process? And it's your faith that's important. All right, so consider this, contemplate it, examine it, apply it, and the fruits of the application will prove themselves over time. So if you don't believe just yet, you really have nothing to lose by just beginning to apply conscious awareness, mindfulness, whenever you think a thought of lack. Now, this applies to career, this applies to money, this applies to relationships, this applies to health. Whenever you think a thought of disharmony, negate it, meaning deny it and replace it. This is the spirit process, the process. Those are the words spirit gives me. Negate and replace. So negate it. Deny that idea, that belief, and now replace it with what you would be preferring to experience. If it's illness, replace it with an idea, a visualization, and a feeling and thoughts of wellness. See it as already done, not done in 2 weeks. See it as already done. The universe is waiting for your direction. If you want health, you have to align with it consciously. These aren't accidents. There's no accidents. Creation is perfect in this manner. Okay? I'll close this episode for now, my friends. Stay blessed, and we'll talk soon. If you found any value in this episode, please consider sharing it with your circle. If you're interested in receiving some guidance, you can contact me at aswithinsoul@gmail.com. If you're inspired to offer a donation, you can also use the email aswithinsoul@gmail.com.